Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Bakes, and thank you for joining me for another episode of my random horror reviews. Today's movie is an installment from a horror franchise that really doesn't need any introduction. I did Halloween 2 actually not too long ago for my random horror reviews, and felt like watching another one in the franchise. So today's movie is from 1988, and it is titled Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Now, as usual, I'll quickly go through the plot before I get into my thoughts of this movie. So the plot for this one, it takes place 10 years after the events of the first two Halloween movies, and not only did Michael survive, he has now escaped again, and he is returning home to Haddonfield, where he's now no longer after Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode, as she has since passed away. We know the later films sort of go back on that, but now he's after her niece, Jamie, who is played by Danielle Harris. And yeah, this is him returning home and trying to find her and kill her. So that is the plot for this movie, and let's get into my thoughts for Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. So as I mentioned before, not too long ago, I did a random horror review episode for Halloween 2, and if you haven't checked out that review, go and check it out. But I sort of spoke about how I do enjoy Halloween 2. There are just things that stick out in that movie where I feel like it doesn't go very hand in hand with the first Halloween movie, as in it's meant to take place right after the first one ends, it's meant to go hand in hand with it, but it just feels like a later sequel, something that you would see in a part 4 or part 5. I just feel like there's not a very strong consistency and vibe that gets carried over from part 1 to part 2, and it's disappointing because it's meant to be a direct sequel, and that's always sort of been my gripe with Halloween 2. I don't hate it, it just always sticks out to me every time I rewatch it. Also, in my review of Halloween 2, I sort of spoke about how none of the original timeline Halloween sequels I really come back to that often, and this being included. And I also quickly spoke about how my thoughts of Halloween 4 are that it's not really amazing, it's okay, but nothing special. However, rewatching Halloween 4 this time around, I sort of just picked it up, sort of felt in the mood for it. This is the most I've ever enjoyed Halloween 4. And honestly, I think it's because I'm coming right off the back of rewatching Halloween 2, where I said it feels like a distant, far down the track sequel rather than a direct sequel. Comparing this one to Halloween 2, this is what it should be, things are a bit more outlandish in this movie, Michael's powers, he's able to throw people up in the air and use the end of a shotgun to impale somebody, stuff that he wouldn't be doing in Halloween 1, and I feel like he shouldn't be doing in Halloween 2, but he kind of is, breaking through doors and whatever. I just found this movie to be a lot more easier to digest this time around, just sort of turning my brain off and going, this is what a sequel further down the track for a slasher franchise should be. It's a bit more over the top, there's nudity, there's gore, there's a variety of kills, and just comparing it coming off the back of Halloween 2, as I said, I found this movie to be a lot more enjoyable and a lot easier to sort of digest in a way. So I'm going to kind of keep the rest of this review short and sharp because, fuck, it's Halloween 4, it's kind of what you expect from a fourth installment in a slasher franchise. It's nothing like story-wise that's going to blow your mind, no grand twist or anything really. As I said, it's pretty much what you expect from a part 4. But to continue on with some positives, Danielle Harris, she does such a good job in this movie. She's so popular in the horror community and especially in the Halloween community. But for a child actress in this movie, she does a really genuinely good job. Her emotions are really well captured and, they don't feel out of place. Sometimes kids just struggle to do that. But she is genuinely a really good child actress in this movie. She does such a great job. And I'm so happy that she still gets so much love from the horror community. You see her pop up in franchises like Hatchet and so on and so on. But the acting in this one is really good. Donald Pleasance returns again as Dr. Loomis, and by this point in the franchise, he's pretty much just running around going, "There's Michael, where's Michael, we gotta find Michael," and pulling guns out and everything, but it's kind of what you expect by this point. It's kind of funny in a way, I do laugh whenever he comes on screen now, but he's just one of those faces you want to see in the Halloween sequels now. As I said, this movie isn't perfect, it's the most I've ever enjoyed it, but it's not perfect. But it's fun, as I said, this is what you sort of expect from a part 4, where, as I mentioned before with Halloween 2, I wanted it to flow a lot more with the first movie because it's meant to go hand in hand with the first movie. If Halloween 2 was part 4 and part 4 was pushed to part 5, Halloween 2 would be fucking awesome. But as I said, it's the fact that I have that small gripe where it doesn't flow with the first movie. As I said, this one has a lot more outlandish stuff, Michael stabbing people with the end of a shotgun and throwing people like 5 meters into the air onto electrical poles. It's kind of what you expect. Halloween 2 has those moments where Michael is like walking through walls and just knocking them over. It's like he's still meant to be a human, and in this he is as well, but he gets a bit more... You guys know what I mean, it's Halloween 4. I'm going to stop rambling. My thoughts for this movie, getting to a rating, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. And as I said, that's still not a incredibly high score, but it's a lot more solid than what I even expected going back into it. If I was to give Halloween 4 a rating before going back for this rewatch, I probably would have given it somewhere around a 4 out of 10, possibly like a 4.5 at highest. So a 6 is really good for a score upon return and checking this one out again. A 6 is actually what I gave Halloween 2 as well. I'd probably say that I still like Halloween 2 an inch more, but as I said, this movie was really enjoyable going back and rewatching it this time. So let me know your thoughts on the Halloween franchise, guys, your thoughts on Halloween 4. I know a lot of people love Halloween 4 just purely because it's the return of Michael Myers. I still feel like a lot of people are 50-50 on Halloween 3 purely because it's Season of the Witch and got nothing to do with Michael Myers. But I reckon if you took Halloween 3 or the Halloween franchise out of the title of Season of the Witch and just called it Season of the Witch, a lot more people would love that movie because that is a fucking awesome movie. It's so rewatchable. Honestly, out of the whole franchise, it's probably in my top 3, but either way, we're talking about Halloween 4. As I said, this time around, a 6 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on this movie, guys, and I'll see you for another video soon enough, guys. Thank you for joining me again. Peace.